Do you truly believe you are living your life by your own free will?
That is quite the question to kick things off with.
Right. But I want you to really sit with that for a second. Think about the choices you make every single day. The people you instinctively trust or, don't trust. The career you're currently burning yourself out over.
Yeah.
Even just the things you feel like you need to buy. Or the stuff on your feed that makes you angry.
Yeah, the daily outrage cycle.
Exactly. Are those actually your own independent, self-generated decisions?
It's a heavy thing to think about.
It is, because if we look at our reality right now, here in the year 2026, we are living in an era of unprecedented, just unparalleled physical comfort.
Oh, absolutely. Historically speaking, anyway.
Right. I mean, you can control the temperature of your room with your voice. You can have a hot meal brought right to your door in minutes. You have infinite entertainment literally at your fingertips.
And yet,
Yeah, there is this eerie, completely unexplainable, modern feeling of being absolutely, completely mentally drained.
yeah, that ambient exhaustion.
Yes. It's this ambient sense of being betrayed, but you don't really know who by. We are constantly, chronically exhausted, and we can't quite articulate the reason.
Which is exactly what brings us to today's source material.
Exactly. Today, we have a deep dive into a collection of source materials that claims to have perfectly predicted and actually designed this exact modern digital anxiety we all feel.
It's wild stuff.
It really is. We are exploring detailed excerpts from a text called the Kurukshetra Pact, Krishna and the Blueprint of Kali Yuga. Our mission for this deep dive is to, unpack what amounts to a hidden 5,000-year-old psychological script.
A very dark script.
Yeah, very. We want to understand how an ancient, blood-stained battlefield connects directly to the very screen you were likely staring at just moments ago.
That connection is it's chilling when you really lay it all out.
It is. Reading through these sources, the feeling I kept getting was almost claustrophobic. It's like waking up inside a highly advanced, brilliantly designed escape room.
Oh, I like that analogy.
Right. Like you're looking around, figuring out the clues, testing the doorknobs, and then you suddenly have this horrifying realization that the architect of the room isn't trying to physically trap you at all.
No, you don't.
They're actively trying to psychologically break you.
What's fascinating here is that the blueprint for this escape room, as you so aptly put it, was drawn up thousands of years ago in the ashes of very real, very visceral conflict.
Yeah.
And the sources we are looking at today make a deeply unsettling claim. We aren't just looking at mythological history or ancient theology.
Right. It's not just a dusty old story.
Exactly. The text explicitly frames itself as a live, ongoing psychological experiment, a grand cosmic trial where the variables are your attention, your empathy, and your sanity.
And the craziest part.
The most crucial thing to understand before we really dive in is you, listening to this right now, are the test subject.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Because to understand how we got trapped in this room, we have to look at the architect.
We have to go back to the source.
Right. The source material takes us back chronologically to a very specific, honestly chilling moment. It's the immediate aftermath of the Great War of Mahabharat.
The war is over.
Yeah, the physical conflict, which wiped out millions, has just ended. And the text is incredibly specific about the visual setting here. It paints this cinematic, dark night scene. The soil of Kurukshetra is stained a deep, dark crimson. There are dying orange embers scattered all across the ground. It's a completely silent night.
Very atmospheric.
Right, and Shri Krishna, who is almost universally depicted in ancient texts with this serene, knowing smile, is described here as being completely solemn. No smile at all.
That's a huge shift in his usual depiction.
It is. He reaches down and picks up a handful of ash from this cursed, devastated ground. And according to these hidden verses, this is the exact moment he summons something.
Yes, from the dark earth and those dying embers, the text describes a towering black shadow entity rising up.
Wow.
It's surrounded by swirling smoke, rising to meet Krishna. This entity is called Kali.
Kali.
Now, it's really important to understand the nature of what is being summoned here. This is not a human king.
Right.
It's not a rival god, and it's not a demon in the traditional Western sense. Kali is the primordial embodiment of the Dark Age. He is the personification of an era itself.
The era we're in now.
Exactly. The exact era, according to the text that we are living in right now.
So we have the ultimate protector of the universe standing face to face with the literal embodiment of darkness.
A terrifying standoff.
Yeah. And the dialogue between them is what sets the foundation for our entire modern psychological landscape.
It really does.
Kali looks at Krishna and says, "O Vasudev, you saved every righteous soul in the Dwapar Yuga."
And just for context for everyone listening, the text defines the Dwapar Yuga as the previous, more righteous age of the world that literally just ended with this massive war.
Right, so Kali essentially says, that was your time. But in my era, the incoming Dark Age, I will ensure that no pure soul survives in peace.
And pay close attention to Kali's methodology here, because this is where the text predicts our current reality with terrifying accuracy.
Yeah, it's so specific.
Kali doesn't say he's going to wage a physical war. He doesn't threaten to burn cities or unleash plagues.
No.
He says he will corrupt human minds so subtly, so invisibly, that people will destroy their own happiness with their own hands. He is declaring a war of psychological attrition. And then, feeling triumphant, he asks Krishna, "How will you stop me?"
And this is the part that genuinely shocked me when I was going through the notes.
It's a huge twist.
The ultimate protector, the guiding force of this entire epic, looks at this dark entity and says, "I will not stop you. I will hand them over to you."
Just completely surrenders them.
I mean, I had to read that twice. He just surrenders humanity to the Dark Age. How does it make any sense at all?
Sounds totally contradictory.
Right. Why would he agree to subject humanity to an era where they are basically guaranteed to suffer?
It absolutely reads like a total betrayal of humanity at first glance. But Krishna doesn't just hand them over unconditionally.
Okay, there's a catch.
A very important catch. The text reveals that Krishna says, "I will hand them over to you, but on one condition."
And understanding that condition is the whole point of this?
Exactly. Understanding the specific parameters of that condition is the key to decoding exactly why our world operates the way it does today. Krishna enforces a set of rules on how Kali is allowed to operate.
The boundaries of the experiment.
Right. And that condition manifests in our modern reality as three invisible microsignals.
Microsignals, yeah.
These aren't just abstract historical concepts meant for academic debate. These are active, aggressive algorithms operating in the background of your life right now.
So this pact is essentially a set of rules for how our minds are allowed to be attacked.
Precisely.
Let's look at how the first signal plays out, because this is where the 5,000-year-old text suddenly felt like it was reading my diary.
Oh, for sure.
The text calls this first condition weaponized anxiety.
Weaponized anxiety.
Yeah. Krishna's rule was that Kali could inject sorrow into human minds, but with a highly specific constraint, Kali is not allowed to break humanity through external disasters.
Right.
He is only allowed to break them through the chaos of their own thoughts.
And if you stop and think about how perfectly that maps onto the paradox of our lives in 2026, it is staggering.
It really is.
Historically, human anxiety was tied to immediate physical threats. A famine, a predator, an invading army over the hill.
Yes, you could actually see and run from.
Exactly. But today, we have largely secured the baseline of physical survival. We have climate-controlled shelter, we have food delivered to our doors, we have modern medicine.
There is no physical predator waiting outside your window.
Yet, the mechanism of the Dark Age ensures that the moment you turn off the lights and lie down to sleep, an overwhelming, faceless void opens up in your chest.
Right. It's an anxiety that has no actual target. You're lying there, perfectly safe in a warm bed, and your heart is racing as if you were being actively hunted.
Exactly. Because the battlefield has literally been moved inside your own head.
Wow.
By removing the external threats, the algorithm forces your mind to cannibalize itself. It takes your evolutionary survival instincts and points them inward.
So it attaches panic to everyday things.
Yeah, attaching panic to things like unread emails, social media metrics, or just vague, undefined fears of the future. Your own mind is weaponized against you.
So if our minds are constantly overwhelmed by this internal panic, if we are all walking around fighting these invisible battles every single day, it makes perfect sense that we wouldn't have the emotional bandwidth left for real human connection.
You just don't have the energy for it.
Right. And that actually brings us directly to the second microsignal, detailed in the source, the systemic destruction of connection.
This one is particularly brutal.
It is. The text draws this incredibly stark contrast. During the Mahabharat, the war that just ended, betrayals happened on a grand sweeping scale. Chariots, armies, kings betraying kings on a battlefield.
Very loud, very obvious betrayal.
But today, under Kali's rule, betrayal happens silently, right inside your living room.
It is the evolution of betrayal.
Yeah.
The source material argues that under this algorithm, human beings have become fundamentally disposable to one another.
Expendable.
Exactly. The text explicitly points to modern interpersonal behaviors. Think about how common it is now for someone to enter your life, claim a deep bond, and then completely discard you the moment your utility to them ends.
We literally have terms for it now. Love bombing, ghosting, gaslighting.
Right, and we tend to view these purely as modern psychological trends, maybe unfortunate byproducts of dating apps, or just a fast-paced digital society.
But the text argues something much deeper, much more systemic.
Yeah, the text insists these aren't just cultural trends. They are the exact algorithms of the Dark Age, approved on that night at Kurukshetra.
It's like someone maliciously hacked the operating system of human relationships.
That's a great way to put it.
Right. The hardware, our basic biological human need for connection, our desire to be loved and understood, that hardware is totally fine.
It hasn't changed.
But the software running on it is actively programmed to make us reject peace and reject trust. The source says human minds are now so restless that peace actually terrifies them.
It's so true.
If a relationship is stable, we sabotage it because the software demands drama.
Precisely. The system thrives on emotional volatility.
Chaos.
Yeah, chaos. And that programmed restlessness, that constant churn of disposable relationships, sets the stage for the third, and perhaps the most insidious signal, the absolute exploitation of the kind-hearted.
This one hurts to read.
It really does.
Yeah.
Think about the mechanics of a society where everyone is disposable and everyone is deeply anxious. In that environment, virtue itself is systematically inverted to become a liability.
I see what you mean. If you operate with genuine honesty today, society often doesn't applaud you.
No, it labels you as naive.
Right. You become a target to be taken advantage of by people who have adapted to this dark age. If you show deep empathy, you are targeted as weak or overly sensitive.
Exactly. The mechanisms of the Dark Age are designed to actively, repeatedly punish the very qualities that previously defined a good person.
It turns it all upside down.
The algorithm rewards ruthlessness, detachment, and self-interest, while ensuring that the kind-hearted are left feeling drained, used, and totally isolated.
Okay, so if I'm listening to this and I realize that the deck is this heavily intentionally stacked against the kind-hearted,
Yeah.
if the operating system of reality is literally designed to punish empathy and reward disposability, then what is the point?
It's a very fair question.
Seriously, why bother trying to be a good person? Why not just lean into the dark age, become ruthless, and play by its rules so you don't get crushed?
That is the most natural human response to this kind of systemic pressure. And that exact doubt is actually addressed in what the source calls the hidden layer of the Gita.
The Bhagavad Gita.
Yes. Now, conventionally, the Gita is understood as the great philosophical conversation between Krishna and the warrior Arjun, which took place on the battlefield right before the physical war started.
Right, before the arrows started flying.
Mainstream commentary often presents it as a straightforward manual for duty and karma, but the source material highlights a much deeper hidden script.
What does the hidden script say?
In the text, before the slaughter begins, Arjun looks out at it all. He sees the inevitable decay of society, and he essentially asks Krishna the very same question you just asked.
Wow.
He says, "O Narayan, if the future ages are destined to sink into absolute moral decay anyway, what is the point of me lifting this bow today? If darkness wins the era, everything will eventually crumble."
That is profound. And Krishna's response here completely shatters the perspective of the whole text, right?
Changes everything.
He tells Arjun that the massive physical battlefield they're standing on, the millions of soldiers, the elephants, the chariots, is merely a dress rehearsal.
A warm-up.
Right. The real war, the ultimate Kurukshetra, isn't going to be fought with swords. It is going to be fought every single day, inside the mind of every individual who tries to hold on to a higher frequency in the dark age.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it completely redefines the nature of our daily suffering.
Absolutely.
The emotional burnout you are experiencing, the deep sense of isolation you feel for trying to maintain your integrity in a world that rewards ruthlessness.
Yeah.
The text is telling you that this isn't a random sequence of bad luck.
No.
And it certainly isn't a sign that you are failing at life. It is a filter.
A filter?
Yes.
Yeah.
Krishna essentially granted Kali absolute power to distort and manipulate human perception, but it was a trap within a trap.
So it's almost like it's filtering us. It makes me think of one of those massive centrifuges they use in laboratories.
Oh, interesting. How so?
You know, where they put the vials in and spin them at incredible speeds. The sheer rotational G-force pushes the heavy, dense materials to the bottom and leaves the pure, light materials separated at the top.
That's a perfect visual for this.
The relentless chaos of the modern world, the stress, the betrayals, the endless noise, the anxiety that is the G-force of the cosmic centrifuge.
Spinning faster and faster.
Exactly. It's designed to spin us until we break. It separates those who will eventually cave in, become ruthless, and conform to the Dark Age from those who will preserve their inner alignment despite the overwhelming, crushing pressure.
It separates the pure from the dense.
Yeah. So what does this all mean for the listener? Well, reframing our daily anxiety and relationship struggles as a cosmic filter completely changes the stakes of simply getting out of bed in the morning.
It elevates the mundane, exhausting struggles of daily life into a cosmic act of defiance.
Defiance, yes.
Every time you choose empathy over bitterness, you are passing the test of the centrifuge. But this raises an important question because we have to remember, the entity of Kali is not a passive system.
Right, he's actively fighting back.
Exactly. The Dark Age anticipated this counter-strategy. It knew that humans, particularly the kind-hearted, might try to find their center, hold on to their morals, and weather the storm of the centrifuge.
So what did Kali do?
To counter this, Kali deployed an ultimate weapon to ensure that humanity fails the test.
And when I was reading the source notes on this ultimate weapon, I was fully expecting something biblical.
Like a plague or a flood.
Yeah, a new world war, a catastrophic plague, some overt, undeniable act of malice.
No, because overt malice gives people something concrete to unite against.
Oh, that makes sense.
It forces people to reflect and find purpose. The ultimate weapon of the Dark Age is far more subtle and vastly more effective. The weapon is absolute distraction.
Distraction.
The text points out a simple truth. To survive a cosmic centrifuge, to maintain your internal alignment and resist the pressure, you require silence.
You need to be able to hear yourself think.
Exactly. You need the quiet, unbothered space to look within, process your emotions, and find that higher frequency. So Kali's masterstroke wasn't to attack the frequency directly.
It was the eradication of silence itself.
Exactly. He made the world so incredibly, inescapably loud that self-reflection becomes virtually impossible.
The eradication of silence. I mean, the source material paints this incredibly vivid, bleak picture of how this mechanism works in our actual daily routines.
It's depressing how accurate it is.
It describes the modern trap. You wake up, and before your feet even hit the floor, before you've taken a deep breath or registered your own existence, you immediately reach for a scream to feed your brain artificial stimuli.
Every single morning.
Yeah. You absorb the carefully curated, completely fake lives of strangers, and this generates a subconscious cocktail of envy, inadequacy, and fear.
And you carry that all day.
You carry that heavy cocktail all day, and then you eventually go back to sleep. There's this very powerful visual described in the text's script.
The subway scene.
Yes. Gloomy commuters in a dark 2026 subway, standing shoulder to shoulder, completely isolated from one another, illuminated only by the cold blue light of their smartphones.
Just ghosts in the machine.
Right. You aren't living a life. You are merely consuming a pre-programmed stream of digital dopamine.
It is a profound and unsettling description of modern isolation. The genius of the distraction is that it feels like participation.
You think you're engaging.
Exactly. When you are doom scrolling or obsessing over digital metrics, you feel like you're actively engaging with the world. But in reality, you are just feeding the algorithm that keeps you entirely severed from your own internal state.
You are kept perpetually busy, yet entirely stagnant.
Couldn't have said it better.
Okay, I have to push back here, though, because this is where my modern skepticism kicks in.
Sure, lay it on me.
Am I supposed to believe my smartphone is some magical artifact? Is my social media feed really the deliberate tool of an ancient primordial shadow entity?
It sounds like sci-fi when you put it like that.
Right, or is it just a piece of highly addictive, heavily monetized tech built by a bunch of engineers in Silicon Valley trying to maximize ad revenue? Are we taking a modern engineering problem and wrapping it in ancient mysticism?
That is exactly the right question to ask. But the source material suggests that the distinction you are making doesn't actually matter.
It doesn't.
No, it doesn't matter if a literal shadow entity handed a physical blueprint to a tech CEO. What matters is the mechanism.
The mechanism.
Yes, the mechanism of absolute distraction. how it preys on our dopamine receptors, how it deliberately fractures our attention span, how it generates a baseline of ambient anxiety, perfectly fulfills the ancient algorithm described in the Kurukshetra Pact.
Ah, I see.
The explicit goal of the Dark Age was to prevent self-reflection so that we destroy our own happiness. The smartphone, the endless feed, the blue light, they were simply the most perfectly optimized delivery systems for that exact ancient mandate.
Oh.
It is the tool that ensures you never have the silence required to even realize you were spinning inside the centrifuge.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. The tech is just the vehicle. The algorithm of distraction is the payload.
Exactly.
So we have the trap, we are spinning in the centrifuge, and we are being hit with this ultimate weapon of distraction to keep us totally numb to the whole process.
It was pretty bleak.
It does. But here's where it gets really interesting. What is the way out? Because if the ultimate weapon is absolute noise and digital dopamine, logic tells me the only way to beat the game is total sensory deprivation.
So retreat from the world.
Yeah, are we supposed to throw our phones in a lake, quit our jobs, and move to a cave in the woods to find this silence?
Not at all. And the text is very clear on this.
Really?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Running away to a cave is physical isolation, which is really just another form of escapism.
Oh, that's true.
The antidote is found in Shri Krishna's final absolute directive for those who feel lost in this era. He knew the world would become overwhelmingly loud and distorted, so he left a very specific instruction for the test subjects.
And what did he say?
He said, "When the darkness reaches its peak, my highest energy will not be found in grand temples or stone idols or secluded mountains."
So if the highest spiritual energy, the key to surviving the centrifuge, isn't in traditional places of worship, and it isn't in escaping society, where does the text say it is?
He states that his presence will manifest solely through the self-control of the individual who can remain perfectly still while the entire world is losing its mind.
Perfectly still.
Let me say that again, because it is the core thesis of the entire text. True power in this era manifests through absolute stillness in the face of complete chaos. It is the refusal to react.
I love that. It perfectly captures what we need right now. It's exactly like being the eye of a hurricane.
Ooh, another great analogy.
Great. The Dark Age is this massive, violent storm spinning all around you. The relentless 24-hour news cycle, the ghosting and betrayals, the digital dopamine loops, the weaponized anxiety, it's all whipping around at 100 miles an hour, destroying everything it touches.
Tearing everything apart.
And your natural panic instinct is to run around and try to fight the wind. You try to argue in the comment sections. You try to control the people who betray you. You try to out-achieve your anxiety.
Which never works.
No.
Yeah.
But you can't fight a hurricane. The more you fight it, the more exhausted you become. The only way to survive, the only place where there is actually any peace, is right in the dead center.
The eye of the storm.
The chaos is spinning violently all around, but the center must remain completely still to survive.
That is a brilliant way to conceptualize it. The storm of Kali relies entirely on your reaction.
It needs you to fight it.
It feeds on your agitation, your outrage, your endless scrolling for a solution. By choosing stillness, by exerting total self-control over your own mind, and refusing to react to the provocations, you are actively starving the algorithm of the Dark Age.
You just stop feeding the machine.
You are literally stepping out of the centrifuge. As we wrap up our analysis of these sources, the one thing the text insists we remember is that the soil of Kurukshetra is still there.
The battle is still happening.
Yes, this massive psychological experiment is still live right at this very second. The burnout, the exhaustion, the betrayal, you feel it, is all by design. But so is your inherent built-in capacity to overcome it through stillness.
You know, it's funny, you've been listening to this deep dive. And if the text is right, your mind is probably already doing exactly what the algorithm predicts.
Oh, absolutely.
Your brain is likely searching for a neat, satisfying conclusion, a quick summary to tie it all up. Or maybe you're feeling that familiar, nagging itch to quickly escape back to your feed to see what you missed in the last 20 minutes.
Gotta get that dopamine hit.
Right. But the answer to this 5,000-year-old problem isn't going to be handed to you in a neat little package by us or by anyone else. The choice to step out of the script has always been yours.
It's all up to the individual.
So I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over today, something to take with you the next time you feel that wave of exhaustion hit. If this dark era's entire power, its whole structural integrity, relies on your mind being perpetually distracted, agitated, and weaponized against you, what happens the exact second you stop? What happens when you take a deep breath, look at the noise, and simply refuse to participate in the chaos? If you are genuinely a test subject in a 5,000-year-old psychological experiment, does the experiment instantly break the moment the rat realizes it's in a maze?